And so let's look at the signs on the horizon. I want to look at the vital signs of our planet, just as a physician would look at it. Allah says in Surah Ar-Rum, and it's significant that it's in this chapter, which is the chapter of the Europeans. ظهر الفساد في البر والبحر بما كسبت أيدي الناس ليذيقهم بعض الذي عملوا لعلهم يرجعون. The lamb there is for causation again, in order to let them taste. So mischief, corruption, pollution, all of these negative attributes are bound up in that word fasad. Fasad shay, it means it went bad. Mischief has appeared on the land and sea because of the meed, the reward that the hands of men have earned, that Allah may give them a taste of some of their deeds in order that they may turn back. So the reason that Allah makes our negative actions have negative repercussions is in order for us to return back to Allah. Our commentators say ظهر الفساد, it means النقص في الخيرات في البر والبحر. It means the diminishment of the blessings of the earth. You lose the blessings of the earth. And it means also al-qahat, which is droughts and famines and all the harms that come with agriculture. The fruits of the land stop giving forth. And it also means that the benefits of the ocean will diminish from the fish and other animals, the hayawanat in the ocean, like the whales. The whales are mammals. And this is because of what we've earned from our sinfulness. Imam al-Qurtubi says the ulama differed about what fasad means. Ibn Abbas said that it means the diminishment of blessing because of what servants do, that they might turn back to God. An-Nahas, one of the great, Abu Ja'far an-Nahas, one of the great mufassirun, famous for an-Nasikh wal-Mansukh fil Quran. He died in the 4th century, 338. He said the best that's been said about this verse, and from Ibn Abbas, and from him also, that the fasad in the ocean, the corruption in the ocean, is that the fish diminish because of the sins of the children of Adam. One of the signs of the end of time, and Imam al-Ghumari, some people might differ about this, but Imam al-Ghumari, one of the great ulama of the 20th century from Morocco, said that this means, this is in this world, before the akhirah. وَقَالَ الْإِنسَانُ مَا لَهَا. The man, human being will say, what's wrong with the earth? What's going on with the earth? يَوْمَئِذٍ تُحَدِّثُ أَخْبَارَهَا. And then on the Yawm al-Qiyamah, the earth will give its news. It will tell people what they were doing on the earth. It will testify against us. So what is the fasad fil bar? What's the mischief on the land? First of all, mischief in the Arabic language, if we look at it, if we translate it into English, it means rottenness, spoiledness, corruption, decay, decomposition, putrefaction, putridity, depravity, wickedness, viciousness, iniquity, immorality, weakness, pervertedness, wrongness, incorrectness. All of these are meanings embodied in that word. If you look at the word pollution in the English language, and this is taken from a dictionary, undesirable state of the natural environment being contaminated with harmful substances as consequences of human activities. بِمَا كَسَبَتْ أَيْدِ النَّاسِ. This is the result. So even in our language, pollution, which is a dominant problem on the planet today, is recognized as a result of what human beings earn. And it's also, Ibn al-Nahas also said one of the meanings of it, and many of the mufassirun mention this, the commentators say that it means that fires will manifest on the land. And people don't realize this, but there are fires all over the world spreading and greater in intensity. They're becoming greater in intensity, and they're threatening the great forests of Europe. Nobody talks about this, but you can research this and you will find Russia has a major crisis. Spain has a major crisis. Many fires. We're on the west coast of the United States. We have many, many great fires that they can't put out. They're so difficult to put out. The climate change is also driving up temperatures, because as the temperatures rise, there's more incidence of fire. They're projected to burn more land as temperatures continue to rise. This is what is projected increase in annual burn areas, an increase of 650% in some of these areas. Another aspect of this fasad in the bar is the air itself. In India, they estimate every year 500,000 people die from air pollution. 500,000 people. Where's the war on air pollution? You had 15,000 people died from terrorism, and they moved heaven and earth to have this war on terrorism, and yet look at all these people suffering and dying from air pollution. You can see all over the world now, we're polluting the earth, polluting this air. These are smog, pictures of smog. People can't even see. In many places now, they have to wear masks. People are getting asthma, getting sick. Mexico City, Tokyo, Beijing. During the Olympics, people, if you remember what happened during the Olympics, it was so incredible. The pollution. Another aspect of this is soil degradation. Look at the red here, very degraded soil. All over the world, we're seeing the acidity is increasing in the soil. We're losing topsoil. Many places are going to become uninhabitable. We're seeing desertification. These are all realities that are happening. There's degraded soil all over the world. Desertification is literally where a place that once had foliage becomes desert. And you can see the red here is extreme. It's already happened. The other places is where it's happening in the yellow. And then the green, we still have forests, but there was a time when all of North Africa, you see where that white is? All of that is desert. But above, Ibn Khaldun said that before Bani Hilal got into Africa, a squirrel could go from Sinjab, a squirrel could go from Egypt all the way to Morocco without touching the ground. There were so many, and he said that Banu Hilal came, they were like locusts that devoured the resources. Another aspect of the fasad, وَالْأَرْضَ وَضَعَهَا لِلْأَنَامِ. Imam al-Tabari and others say al-anam are the creatures that sleep. So this is all these sentient beings. It's not just human beings. Some say it's al-ins wal-jinn, but some say include the animal kingdom. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala says, مَا مِن دَابَّةٍ فِي الْأَرْضِ وَلَا طَائِرٍ بِجَنَاحِي يَطِيرُ بِجَنَاحِي إِلَّا أُمَمٌ أَمْثَالُكُمْ. That there's no creature on the earth that walks the earth. There's no bird that flies with its two wings except their communities like unto you. Allah tells us that the animal kingdom have communities like unto us. And then He tells us that He left nothing out of this book. مَا فَرَّطْنَا فِي الْكِتَابِ مِنْ شَيْءٍ. We didn't leave anything out. Even the animals are acknowledged in the Quran. We have animals that mate for life. We know that animals make huge pilgrimages and vast migrations to places. Recently, some of you may have seen a man who was a caretaker of the elephants in South Africa. And when he died, the elephants made a march 12 miles. 2 days before he died, it took them 2 days to get there. And they literally made vigilance for 2 days in front of his house. They didn't eat. And this was a man who was taking care. He also saved the animals of the Iraqi zoo. He was a human being that was fulfilling the khilafah of caretaking for animals. And so he was honored by the animals themselves. And he said once he went out and one of the animals, the elephants that didn't know him, started rushing at him to attack him. And the matriarch of the animals, because they're ruled by women, the matriarch of the elephants literally rushed in and blocked that bull that was running at him and stopped it. Animals have emotions. In my country, they put dogs on Prozac, antidepressants, because they're depressed in the houses of depressing people. Dogs are not naturally depressed, but there's so many houses that are sick that the dogs and the cats themselves get sick because they're sentient beings. They're emotional beings. They feel and experience like we do. We have 25 critically endangered species of the world that are from the most beautiful and great animals. They're the animals that human beings used to name their children after, and in many cultures they still do. Animals like tigers, asad, fahad. These are animals that the Arabs, they named their men after muftarisat, after the animals that attack the prey. And they name their women after the prey, like Maha and Ghazala. So Fahad goes after Maha, and she doesn't stand a chance. That's why we have names like Khadija and Zainab and Fatima and Aisha. But if you look at the species that are endangered, they're not the cockroaches. They're not the rats. They're flourishing. They're those qualities in us that are disappearing. The eagle, the peregrine, the lion, the tiger, the elephant. These great qualities in humans that are disappearing. وَفِي أَنفُسِكُمْ أَفَلَا تُبْصِرُونَ. We've got plenty of cockroaches out there in human disguise. We've got plenty of rats out there in human disguise. But we don't have these great animals. They're disappearing.
محمد سيد الكونين والثقلين والفريقين من عرب ومن عجم. محمد سيد الكونين والثقلين والفريقين من عرب ومن